back, everyone. I just climbed down the ladder, turned the lights on, and whew, we got a beautiful little product down here. So you can see just how open the space is. You can see that they've poured all the footers around the perimeter. All the excavation has been done, so it's nice and flat. They got to bring a little bit of dirt back in, just do this sump pit right here. So you can see this. I'm actually going to explain that here in a second, just because we don't see it exposed all too often. So that'll be a really fun little explainer for you guys. But you can see here just how open and wide this space is. Even though it's a relatively small house, footprint wise, and a small basement, just removing that big wall that was in the middle when we first started, getting rid of the crawl space that was over here just has made such a huge difference in terms of livable space that it's always fun to see this part happen. So walking around here, you can see just how open it is. And then another thing that I wanted to talk about was just, we don't see these very often as well, or at least I don't talk about them, but these are our final pillars, supporting pillars. So you remember we put up the temporary wooden ones just to make sure that the house is secure while we're working down here. But since we're finalized on everything down here, we're able to come in, take our metal pillars, and then as well as this brace up here, and put these on together to really support the upper structure. So we got one right here. You can see this one, nice and metal. And then we have one on this side, as well as one on the other side, just holding up the center of the structure of the home. But as I said before, let's go ahead and take a look at the sump pit. So we got a few questions a while back last time that I showed this, asking what this like cloth material was. And this pretty much just keeps any of the sediment and debris, rock out of the sump pit and only lets the moisture in. So whenever they go to drain the sump pit, there's no rock or debris in there and it's just the water. So that's really cool. But you can see that this goes around the entire perimeter. They got it covered for the most part. So they're still working on some stuff, I figured, because you can see we have a dead end right there. So they might come in, or that just ends right there. I'm not entirely sure, but they're going to come in, fill this up so it's nice and smooth. And then next week, they're going to take their vapor barrier, put it all along the bottom here, make sure that there's no moisture seeping up through the ground. And then we're gonna pour the final floor. But yeah, super happy to see this come into a close. This was a really fun one. Really cool when we do the really cramped basements, just because it's such a big difference on the final product. And you'll see that in the time-lapse video when we do it in a couple of weeks, the start to finish. But yeah, that's super awesome. And then we don't show this often as well, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna do a window well right here. Not entirely sure. We will see. I don't know if that's going to get done next week. If it's not, you probably won't see that because I'll be out of here by then and start recording some other jobs. But yeah, tell us what you think in the comments below. Do you like how much space is opened up? Have you thought about doing one of these yourselves? We'd love to hear in the comments down below. And with that said, I'll leave you guys with the time lapse. Have a great. And with that said, I'll leave you guys with the time lapse. All right, hopping into the time lapse here, you can see just how open the space is with no walls or anything remaining. So we get some nice viewing angles from the cameras for this week. But you can see the guys are really just finishing up the footers along the perimeter of this Digout here, and we have that huge pile of dirt in the middle that's got to get taken out. But with that said, the guys worked really fast this week. It pretty much went looking like this to just almost a finished basement in a matter of 5 days, which is incredible. You can see switching angles here. Gets a little bit hazy when they're using those quick creep bags, but they make short work of it. And then you can see just how useful these wheelbarrows are in terms of mixing the concrete and wheeling them around. So the guys are really able to just move from point to point and get stuff done super quick. And then you can see as they're going, they probably have that whole left side left to do on those footers. And those are pretty easy. You can see they're almost done, honestly, and that pile slowly starting to dwindle away here. Boom, switching back to this angle, you can see those footers that I was talking about. They're doing that AB sequence, so you can see how it's every other one has some wood framing on it. That's wood forms. And then you can see this one on the right here. They just poured the base of that, and now they're going to put up their form over there. You can see them doing that right now in the back corner, left side. Putting that form up, getting it set up, pouring the concrete in, boom, and just like that, it's done. So the footers are really nice just because they're not too complicated. They're pretty easy. You can also see here, this is a really good angle. Underneath our access point, they're also doing the footer right there. You can see that they just put all that blue vapor barrier underneath. And then this is what I was talking about beforehand. They're putting that form up over here on the right side for that. And you can see just how easy it is to make these footers. It's a super simple process. Now that it's poured, they just gotta wait a day or two and then rip it off, and it's good to go. And then you can see with all the space as well that like they have everything stored on the perimeter, so it's nice that they're able to do that. You just have a lot of leg room and moving room to do all this stuff. And then here pretty soon they're going to start taking everything out just because they don't need any of the forms in there anymore. They don't need any rebar. They don't need any concrete bags, and it's really going to open up here in a second. You can see them on the back putting the form up for the access hole footer. You can see that big wooden wall that they're putting up right there. And then in a day or two that thing will be cured, and then all the footers will be done. You can see here the guys are starting to clean up. This is what I was talking about, getting all the excess stuff out of here that they don't need. Switching back, this is another good angle showing this side of the room and what they're doing. You can see they saved the corners for last. They're doing another footer there in the corner. And you can see just the amount of wires on the roof too. So we have like a lot of electricians that usually come in while we're working as well, and they'll like move stuff around. But mostly it's our lighting fixture. You can see the lights are just dangling all over the place. And that's really important on these jobs too, is having just good lighting, especially when I go down there and film. It's pretty damn dark, I'll tell you that much. So having some good lighting is really important just to make sure that you're working safely. Here's another really good part. They're putting down the perimeter drain here. You can see that going in right now. And then they're putting that plastic sheathing over the top just so no aggregates or anything gets inside the pipe. And with that said, that's going to bring us to the end of this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. This was super fast. The guys are killing it. But with that said, I'll see you next week.